So we are live. Forgive me because I'm doing this on both Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So to the family on Facebook, I want you guys to subscribe to Kingdom Harbinger Ministries on YouTube. And you're going to get a lot of great content on there. So please subscribe if you have not already subscribed. It's Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. All right. So I'm doing this quick live stream because I wanted to debrief a little bit in regards to my discussion with Vocab Malone. It's interesting because this particular discussion, interview, questionnaire type of thing, this was initiated by Vocab. All right. So Vocab reached out to Sal, and they both reached out to me, and they gave me this format that they wanted. Vocab was against it being a debate. He did not want it to be a debate. So I said, okay, cool. It won't be a debate. He said he just wants it to be a interview type of discussion where he can ask me questions on what I believe. Now, here's the interesting thing. When you play chess, you always have to think 2 to 10 steps ahead. And you have to be aware of what your opponent is doing. And when I say opponent, I'm saying that in the most respectful terms. I'm not saying I don't hate Vocab. I'm not going to say anything negative about Vocab. I'm not going to do anything. I mean, people, and this is the thing, Vocab, you know, social media is social media, right? People are gonna give their opinions. You know, they'll say things like, oh, he got cut, and oh, he got Mortal Kombat and everything. The people who are making these statements, this is how they express their peer review of what occurred, okay? Everybody does not express it the same, and we cannot force people to express their worldview the same way. Everybody has different personalities, etc. You know, I've been called all types of names on social media. You know what I'm saying? I eat it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the nature of what it is that I do. That comes along with the territory. So I've accepted that. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that he may see that's on my channel, nobody wishes him death. Nobody wants him to die or burn, anything like that. And I've seen somebody do that, I would delete the comment. You know what I'm saying? And if I can do it repeatedly, not just him, just in general, I would just block them from my page altogether. So the people who are on there are peer reviewing. They're giving their criticism in regards to how they saw things occur. Now, this is interesting because Vocab is a rapper, right? Vocab has entrenched himself with Black culture, right? He appeals to a urban audience. And this is when he says with Apologetics, he appeals to an urban audience. So he's aware of a lot of the slangs that people trash talk with. Vocab, matter of fact, I was reading his book, which I'm going to get in a few minutes. I was reading his book, and he was talking about some place in Columbus, Ohio, where he used to play basketball at. So Vocab used to play ball like I used to play ball. You know, people are going to talk trash. You know, you got hecklers that can come to the game and talk all types of stuff. This comes with the territory. Does that mean that they literally want you to get, oh, he got destroyed, oh, he banged on him? Does that mean that they're wishing death on you? No, they're not wishing death on you. This is what people say when they give their criticism on an actual event that's taking place. All right. And this is how those people express themselves. So I'm not one to censor people's level of expression. I am against threats, and no threats have been made towards him personally, to him, his children, anything like that. But he doesn't know this, and maybe I should post it. I've had Christians that inbox me, and I put them in my other folder, where they was like, oh, you're going to go to hell, and oh, Vocab is trying to save your soul. What? Oh, how could you do this and this, and that? Now, they're telling me I'm wrong because I'm having a discussion with Vocab, and I don't want to convert to Christianity. Matter of fact, there's a Christian group that I'm still a part of. I don't think the admins know I'm part of it, that was speaking about this debate. And it was like, oh, Divine's coming with a demonic spirit. Oh, the Most High ain't dealing with Divine because he's not a Christian. And I'm looking at this like, all right, am I trolling them because they're making comments about me? No, I don't care. I don't care. I'm used to this. You understand what I'm saying? This is light for me. I'm from New York. In New York, this is the nature of what people do. They talk trash. And that is the way that the urban audience expresses their level of criticism, even when it comes to things such as a discussion, a debate, a sporting event, etc. Uh-oh. Y'all stay with me, family. What's happened? Oh, come on. My bad, YouTube family. They cut me off on here. I don't know what just happened. Hold on. I got to do another session. Hold on, family. I don't know what just happened. Let me go back live. Hold on. But it's not because of my battery. No, that's good. All right, let's do that again. My bad, YouTube family. Just bear with me, all right? I didn't want to do 2 separate videos. I'm tired and everything like that. So just bear with me. All right, family. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The signal just got cut. I don't know what happened. But anyway, like I was saying, so being that I'm from New York, this is the type of stuff that I would encounter. You know what I'm saying? That this is how people express themselves. Everybody's not eloquent. All right. Everybody's not tactful and diplomatic. Everybody's just not built like that. So what do you do when you're getting the brunt force of people who you believe is not as tactful as you are? You have to become the standard, right? So you have to be the standard of what's righteous if they're doing something unrighteous. You know, you don't troll them, you don't complain. I mean, it's okay. Like Vocab, I don't mind him commenting on my page, my post. I'm not here to censor him, you know, but I don't like when, you know, he takes it upon himself to say certain things. He called me a polytheist, but yet on the discussion, he acknowledged that I acknowledge henotheism. But did he retract that? No, he didn't retract that, but that's what he said. So I'm okay with that. I'm not going to cry and complain. All I'm saying is, do not get mad at people when they voice their opinion. That's just going to happen. That's the nature of what this is that we do, right? And in modern times, social media allows a lot of people who typically would not be able to come out their shells and speak on things. It gives them that opportunity to do so. All right. So I want to say to Vocab, you know, you did well, Vocab. I appreciate the question that you asked me. Hopefully your audience is aware now where I stand. I already know, Vocab, what your motives is behind the intentions of calling this particular discourse that we had. I know that you are trying to figure out Kingdom Harbinger Ministries, and then you said that we are a branch of RBG Brews, which is African colors, red, black, and green. I don't know what you mean by that. RBG Hebrews is a moniker. RBG Hebrews is a hashtag. RBG Hebrews is an ideology that people subscribe to that is not related to spiritual matters. What is related to is the fact that our spiritual foundation is that of Hebrew Israelites, but we are on a different plane or frequency in which we're willing to work with other Black organizations for the betterment and upliftment of Black people in our community. The red, black, and green shows our solidarity with our brothers on the continent of Africa and Africans in the diaspora who we relate to. And we're willing to do business with them. We're willing to engage in politics with them. We're willing to do various things to aggregate resources to bring it back to our respective communities. That's all that means. That has nothing to do with the gospel. That has nothing to do with I can't say it has nothing to do with Torah. It has everything to do with Torah. You know, it encourages you to do business with your own people. But what I'm saying is it's not a faith-based worldview. Okay, that's just like if Vocab was a Sigma, you know, or if he was an Alpha, or whatever the case may be. That has nothing to do with your Christian subscription. That has nothing to do with that. So if I was writing about your Christological worldview, I would not even mention that. But I digress. All right. So I just want to make sure that he's corrected on that. And what I will give him props to, if you guys read the book, matter of fact, I got the book here. It's on page, what page is this? I don't even know what page this is. But the page is the page where he lists all of the One West Messianic Harlem school influence camps. Then he mentions the non-One West Hebrew Israelites, Tanakh only camps, congregations, and synagogue. Then he mentions Messianic Hebrew roots and Hebrew Israelite mixture. And then he puts me in there and says, note, the Kingdom Harbinger Ministry Group and its teacher dubbed themselves as RBG Brews. RBG refers to the African colors of red, black, and green. The idea is to combine Hebrew Israelism. I don't know what that is, but I know what he means by that. Like British Israelism, he says Hebrew Israelism to distinguish us from British Israelism. Elements of the conscious community, what those elements are, I would have to talk with him to see if he would have to elaborate on that. Pan-Africanism, which I am, and some mainstream secular scholarship. Not sure what he means by mainstream secular scholarship. he'd have to go in depth with that. But I will say this, that in the book, at least, he did not say anything derogatory against me. He didn't disrespect me. He didn't insult me. He didn't do any of that, right? So I do have to give him credit for that. I just don't like his note because it's not clear, okay? But he has me in his book, okay? So I read the book front to back. Very interesting read. I thought I was going to read something that was more academic, but it's not. It's like a pickup book for Christians in a church. Like the things that's given out by the Jehovah's Witness and the Mormons and all these other groups. When you do evangelism in the street, you give a little pamphlet out that explains things. But it's a quick guide. Like he said, it's an abridged version, but it's a quick guide to understanding the Hebrew Israelite ideology and worldview with emphasis on One West. But even though he says the emphasis is on One West, he also talks about IOG, Israel of God, and he talks about his numerological these numerological differences with them. And pneumatology has to do with the study of the pneuma, or the spirit. Listen, Christians will use a lot of terms with you guys and try to confuse and confound you. And I'm not saying they may be doing it maliciously, but they do it to sound really deep, right? But they don't realize that I peep game. And I was a Christian for years, teaching apologetics and hermeneutics before I transitioned to being a Hebrew Israelite. So I peeps game. From New York, I peep game. So being in that peep game, and I know he wrote a book, and I know he's trying to figure out who divine is, what he subscribes to. He even made a comment on one of my videos saying that I'm a pagan. A pagan means a country dweller. Now, if you consider Georgia a country, then hey, I'm a country dweller. I mean, words like that do not affect me because that's from his perspective, his worldview. But guess what? I never once called Vocab a devil. I never once called him a cracker. I never once called him a demon. I never once called him anything. I never said that, oh, the Most High going to destroy him. I never said that he's being insincere. I never said anything negative to or about that brother. Only things that I've referenced is my discussions with him, my studies in regards to him, and my dialogue with him, right? So what I did was, as a preface before I engage in the discussion, is I put out the objectives as I perceived it, his objectives and my objectives, because I wanted him to be aware that I'm aware of why you call this dialogue. I'm aware that you're in the process of creating more books and more works where you want to continue to look at the various groups in Hebrew Israelism and be able to better categorize them. I already know that. So I could have been dishonest and just gave you whatever I wanted to give you to make you think I believed that and really didn't. But I was very honest, and I have no problem being honest. Like I said, I get questions every day. I teach. This is what I do. So it's very difficult for questions to confound me, even questions I don't know, right? I can say I could get back to you. I can go get a reference on it because I don't know everything. But most common things that Christians ask me, like what he asks me, I'm familiar with it. So I wanted to let him know that I was aware of his objectives. I know that he's trying to find a way to put out an unabridged version of his book or addendum to it, and that's cool. I have no problem with that. Shout out to Sal Showtime. Sal Showtime did a great job moderating. I love Debate Talk for You. You guys subscribe to Debate Talk for You on YouTube, and also make an account on Blog Talk Radio and subscribe to Sal Showtime's Debate Talk for You. Excellent platform. He moderated it very well. He was neutral. He didn't pick any sides. He gave the audience a fair amount to speak, and that's all good, and I appreciate Sal for that. I wouldn't have done it on any other platform that was biased. I just wouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? Even I invite Vocab, if he wants to have a debate with me, I'll have a neutral moderator who does not subscribe to either one of our ideologies. All they're concerned with is how we're expressing these views to the audience and to ensure that we're being fair to one another. So like I said, he had a lot of presuppositional logical fallacies that he was already coming into the discussion with an idea of what it was that I subscribed to, and he wanted to confirm it to see whether he had it right or he had it wrong. So he included a lot of his major points because he wanted to see what my worldview is. Now, what's interesting is because he was talking about things such as deistic evolution. And I subscribe to deistic evolution in the sense where I say that the Yom, on a period of time, in regards to creation, were periods of ages where the Most High initiated a process and he allowed things to occur. For example, when he gave the decree for the plants that he created to yield seed, he gave a decree. When he gave a decree to the animals in the ocean to produce and multiply, he gave a decree, and the thing that he decreed it acted upon the forces that was guiding that process. So that was my position in regards to the cosmogony and regards to my theistic evolutionist worldview. Does that mean that I believe in evolution by the way what Darwin believes? No, not at all. That's not my subscription. So he was trying to paint it like I was an evolutionist. And this is what he said in a comment when he was going against Captain Zaria. Now, he gets at me because he says, I don't condemn One West and all the vile things. People who know me know my position. I don't condone vile, somebody spewing vile things towards people. They know I don't subscribe to that. You know what I'm saying? They know I don't even conduct myself that way when I teach, when I handle people. Anybody that has met me, they can say for a shadow of a doubt that I wasn't cursing, I wasn't being belligerent, I wasn't being disrespectful. I do my best to show everybody diplomacy, tact, and respect. Because I believe that I have to give people an opportunity to express who they are, whether it's by their personality, their words, their spirit, or what we want to call it. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And I don't have to prejudge anybody, right? So even Vocab Malone, I disagree with what he's doing. He's calling my worldview a cult. You know, I should be up in arms and going crazy and making all these memes and stuff about him. Other people do that. That's what they do. That's how they express themselves. This is 21st century media. I don't do that. I do the show. Once I'm done, I do a debriefing and I move forward unless he wants to debate. If he wants to debate, which I would love to debate, because I was just throwing jabs. This is just maybe 20%. You know, when you sparring with somebody, throw jabs just to see what they're gonna throw your way, and you say, oh, okay, he throw a lot of haymakers. Oh, okay, he's southpaw. Oh, okay, well this is how he takes these hits. You jab to keep your enemy at bay and also see what he's gonna respond with. And that's all I was doing with Vocab. It was just a light sparring match. I wasn't going 1,000 speed full throttle on him because I can get way deeper. But I choose not to do that because not only do I don't want to overwhelm my opponent, and I'm saying it loosely, not in the, this wasn't a debate or anything, anybody. I don't want to overwhelm my opponent, somebody who has a different worldview than me, and they're challenging me on my worldview. I don't want to overwhelm them to the point where they want to withdraw and retreat, and now we don't have a discussion, or resort to ad hominems, insults, and disrespect because they cannot intellectually keep up. So I have to be able to scale back on things that I say and approaches that I take. So that way I'm fair to the person I'm talking with, and I gotta be mindful of the audience. People, everybody in the audience don't know what pneumatology is. Everybody in the audience don't know what soteriology is. Everybody in the audience don't know about cessation, and they don't know about a lot of these terms. So if these terms are being used and things are being expressed, it has to be defined. But what I'm gonna do for you, family, I'm gonna give you a website. People that's on YouTube, I'm gonna share my screen, and people that's following me on Facebook, I'm gonna give you a website. Whenever you come across a Christian and they throwing these deep words out there, I'm gonna give you, because I have books on this. Remember, I used to do this when I was a Christian. I used to be a Christian apologist. What Vocab is doing, if I still was in Christianity, I still would be doing. When I was a Christian, I went and I had this discourse with Hashar. I had a discourse with Zabak. I had a discourse with the 14th Street Israelites in New York. You know what I'm saying? I think I did also have a discussion with Priest Ion's camp. I never interfaced with IUIC, and I did speak to GMS at one time. So as a Christian, I interfaced with all these groups. So I understood apologetics. I tried to run my little apologetics on them, but then there was always certain things that they would say that my Christian apologetics did not account for. So then I realized when people don't see the text from the worldview of Torah, they have to borrow from my worldview to make their worldview make sense. So being that I was steps ahead of Vocab and I understood why he chose to have this discussion, I allowed it. So that way I can control the narrative, or they say meta-narrative, because it would change during the discourse of our discussion. So this is very, very important because, family, listen, I asked Vocab, what is the law of Christ? What is that? Love. Love is a very subjective term. What do you mean love? One group can say, oh, this is how I show love. Somebody else can say, this is how I show love. What is the standard for love? The Most High says, if you love me, keep my commandments. Yahushua says, if you love me, keep my commandments. What are the commandments? Yahushua didn't come and bring nothing new. All he did was come to be the contingency plan in the absence of the temple and in the absence of the Israelites being galvanated in the land and being scattered abroad. So once we understand this, we see certain things now, family. And I'm going to show you this website in a second. I didn't forget. Vocab subscribes to what's called progressive covenantalism. When he first said this to me, I had no clue what that was. This was last year. He said, yeah, I subscribe to progressive covenantalism. And I confused it with something else. He corrected me on it. And I went back, and guess what I did? For the past year plus, I've been researching it. I knew what New Covenant theology was. I knew what covenant theology was. I knew what dispensationalism was. I knew what the London Baptist Confession of 1644 was, and 1688, 89 federalism. I know what all that stuff is, but I never heard of progressive covenantalism. So when he mentioned that, I said, I can't engage him unless I study his worldview and then get him to confirm his worldview. See, the difference with me, he doesn't know my worldview. He's grasping at things because he's seen certain videos that I may have done. He's trying to put this profile together, but I've read those books that I asked them, do you subscribe to? I've read them. And being that I've read them, I personalized the information and say, if I was a Christian, how would I see this? So I was able to ask him certain terms that are mentioned in those books, certain terms of other groups that oppose that. I wanted the Christian community to understand what progressive covenantalism is so people can know what it is and what his personal take on it. This is very, very important. Another thing that I was trying to get him to know is that if the apostles kept Torah and they accepted Yahushua, then why do you have a problem when people do the same thing today? Then he's like, oh, but it has an issue of Christology. Okay, Christology is another subject matter. I got a good book for y'all. I'm going to show you a book on Christology. It goes through Christology for all sects and groups, man. Listen to this. I'm an avid reader when it comes to opposing worldviews because I am a Hebrew Israelite apologist. Meaning that when other worldviews encroach upon my personal worldview, I have to have an answer to respond to these things. And I can't do it unless I read and I pay attention. I listen, I engage, I read, I confirm. It's a whole methodology behind this epistemology of how do I know what these other worldviews teaches, because I go and I research, I study. Not only do I research and I study, but I practice it. I spar with people who have those worldviews. When I was a Christian, right, I had my own ministry. I had a teaching ministry where I would set up and establish the curriculum for Bible study, the curriculum for Sunday school. I would be a ministry of help. So I would go to other ministries and teach them apologetics against groups like the Hebrew Israelites towards the end. Before I withdrew from ministry, I knew about the Hebrew Israelites and I knew about some things they teach. I'm like, yo, this is a black supremacist group, and you know they're falling away from grace, and they're saying you got to be saved by works. I was saying all types of stuff before I understood, and it wasn't until I engaged them in the conscious community that I started to see things a little bit differently, right? So I understood what his worldview was, so I asked some particular questions. Now the audience may not have understood where I was going with it, but these questions was based around his worldview. He had to answer them. Now, he said there were certain things he didn't even know. I was surprised that he didn't know these things. And this is his worldview. He didn't know what he did. I said, what is the covenant of works, the covenant of grace, and the covenant of redemption? Can you please explain that for me? I asked him, hey, can you please explain that to me? And he was like, well, you know, I'm not truly understanding what you mean by that. And then I threw him a bone. I said, well, okay, let's look at the covenant of works in regards to Adam. Did Adam follow a commandment, or did he have laws that he followed? And I was trying to centralize things so that way it could be more accessible for him, so he can better elaborate on the question. I asked him, what's the tripartite distinction of law? This is something that anybody that deals with New Covenant theology, progressive covenantalism, covenant theology, they would know what this means. This has to do with the layers of the Mosaic law that results in either ceremonial law, civil law, or moral law. I wanted to ask him things on soteriology. Soteriology just means the doctrine of salvation. How are people saved? And I asked him certain things in regards to that. I wanted to get into cessation because I think he still subscribes to the fact that the signs, wonders, gifts, and miracles that the apostles performed can still be done today. And if they do, I wanted to ask him, what group do we look at in order to identify that? Does he believe in cessation? I wanted to confirm that. I didn't even get to ask him that. I know he's in opposition to modalism, you know what I'm saying, because he believes in the Trinity. I wanted to ask him questions in regards to the Trinity. I wanted to ask him if he can expound on his doctrine concerning justification, more specifically, what law did Adam break and what law did Christ fulfill in order to balance things out? I wanted to ask him these things. I wanted to go into the London Baptist Confession of 1644. He said he was not aware of that. I wanted to go into that, but that wasn't a teaching moment. It was just him asking questions to kind of gauge where he's at. And I realized he has to do more research. And that's fine. I'm willing to assist him. I said, Vocab, if you're not familiar with that, I'll help you on that. I don't have a problem with that, because I'm not here to beat the brother up or destroy the brother. What I'm here to do is give him some pushback to say, hey, you really don't understand our community like you think you understand our community, right? I am a think tank researcher, teacher. A think tank means I look at the data concerning my worldview and I find different angles to convey it to our community so they can be more confident in conveying to other people who oppose their worldviews. So I had to look at things differently. I'm very unorthodox in my approach. It's very difficult to categorize me with one particular sect in regards to Hebrew Israelism, is what he calls it, because the way I look at things is much different. It's not the norm. So let me show y'all the site. So the website that you can go to, it's an easy, accessible website. The website is called, hold on. Let me go back to it. The website is called www.rebecca-writes. Maybe I should type it. Hold on, let me type it. Let me type it. I want y'all to get this. Don't let these Christian apologists, you know what I'm saying, mention certain terms to you and don't define it for you before they require you to answer it. Anytime somebody asks you something and you don't understand, say, please define what you're talking about. Because unless we understand the terms equally, we cannot have a successful discussion. That's why I was kind of shocked that he didn't know some of these things that I was saying to him. I was really shocked. I was like, wait, you don't know what this means? And I'm like, and that's not a knock to the brother. I mean, he at least he was honest and he didn't act like he knew something that he didn't know, because then I would have went into more thorough detail to see if you truly understood what I was saying to him. And again, Vocab, if you're watching this, I used to be a Christian apologist as well, bro. I used to do what you're doing right now. So this is nothing new to me. I used to have debates in churches with other people that had opposing worldviews. We also use the term antinomianism, and I was accusing him of antinomianism. But then I realized that he said that the covenant of the Mosaic covenant is still in effect even after the New Testament came into effect. And I was like, wait a second. So you don't believe that all the covenants culminated in Christ if the disciples and the apostles are still keeping part of the law? If everything culminated in Christ, they should not be keeping the Sabbath. They should not be keeping the feast days. They should not be keeping the dietary law. All these things should not mean anything. Why are they still keeping this after Yahushua was killed, buried, and resurrected? Why are they still doing these things? That is very confusing. Anybody that's trying to understand this, all right? So let me put the site up. All right. So I sent the site for you guys. Y'all who watching on Facebook, y'all got the site. I'm gonna put it in the chat. To the people that's viewing this live, I'm gonna put it in the chat so you guys have it as well. And I want you guys to go to the site and familiarize yourself with these terms that Christians use. Don't let them talk over your head and sound deep. It's not that deep. You know what I'm saying, family? I have a great understanding of biblical Hebrew, and I have a very decent understanding of biblical Greek or Koine Greek. You know, I'm self-taught in these things, so you know, I've taught myself up to the intermediate level, but I still need some additional assistance getting to the expert level. I never claim to be an expert in these things. I never claim that. I know enough of it, and I look at it at a very unorthodox angle that I'm still capable of teaching people. And I have several students that I taught beginner to intermediate Hebrew to, as well as beginner Koine Greek to. So what I'm saying is there's tools out there for those of you who do not know these things. I want to make these tools accessible to you so that these people cannot talk over your head. It's not fair when they say these deep terms and say these things and you guys cannot follow. That's why if I ever say anything, and people always say, oh, divine is deep and divine be using all these deep words. But if it's something I say that you don't understand, just ask me and I'll break it down for you. I'll explain to you what I'm talking about. And forgive me, family, I'm not following the chat because I got Facebook chat and I got YouTube chat going, and it's too much to really watch and follow at the same time. So forgive me if y'all are asking questions and I'm not seeing it, all right? Let me just wrap this up because I'm tired. I have a headache. I'm sleep deprived. I'm hungry. I had some additional food I didn't get to finish it. But I wanted to speak to my audience, right? Because I love you guys. You guys are great supporters. You guys are objective in regards to seeing things. And man, this is just great, man. And yesterday I dealt with Harry Rosenberg. And those of you who've seen the Hebrews and Negro show, I dealt with Harry Rosenberg. Unfortunately, it wasn't just a one-on-one. Ron Dalton, whose show it is, he was also in it as well. But I'll definitely set something up to do a one-on-one. But Harry Rosenberg, he's too moderate. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna debate somebody, it's gonna be somebody that has an extreme opposition to my worldview, like Vocab Malone. Vocab Malone does not subscribe to my worldview. That's a great debate. Harry Rosenberg, he doesn't subscribe to my worldview either, but he's a little bit more lenient and he's a little bit more passive in regards to things. So I'm like, nah. People always say, oh, Divine, I want to see you turn up. So I turned up a little bit. I was extra passionate when I was on the line with him. You know what I'm saying? But I told him, now, family, you follow me. I told Vocab, you know, I'm not debating you. I'm not arguing with you. I'm not disrespecting you, being loud on purpose. I said, I'm just very passionate in discussing this. I didn't want the brother to think that I was attacking him. I didn't want him to think I was trying to overwhelm him. That was not my objective. But y'all know, family, I can turn up. You know what I'm saying? But again, I was trying to restrain myself because the format did not allow me to debate. So I wasn't trying to debate with the brother. But anyway, y'all go back and look at that link and y'all be on top of all these terms these Christians use. It's not deep, family. They make it sound deep. When they say these terms, I know what they're talking about. You know why? Because I learned it in Christianity. I love Christian apologetics and hermeneutics, man. That was my thing. And I challenge other people with other Christian worldviews. That was my thing. But now being woken up to my identity and I see a much greater cause, I'm like, whoa, that method that I use for another purpose, I'm going to use it for a greater purpose. So that way, when I come across these Christians, they can't sit here and speak the Greek to me like I can't recognize what they're saying. They can't speak these Christian apologetic and hermeneutical terms like I don't know what they say. I have an ear that hears, an ear that listens. And if I don't know something, I'll ask them a leading question that'll cause them to answer what the definition is of the term they're using without me actually even saying it. There's ways that you can do that, family. And I'm very learned in this. I didn't want to turn the heat all the way up on Vocab for what? You know what I'm saying? And not saying that Vocab would not be a great opponent for me, but Vocab ain't seen me on 1,000. Nobody ain't seen me on 1,000 yet. Y'all see me maybe on 80%, 75%. Nobody see me on 1,000 yet. Nobody. If y'all think the stuff that I teach now is deep and heavy, y'all have not seen me on 1,000. But I don't want to. This is why I incrementally release things, because I don't want to overwhelm my audience or opponents, right? And I'm not saying I'm the deepest person on the planet, but I can definitely hold my own. Why? Because the Most High placed me this way, because as a teacher, I have to watch over the flock. It's not about me. I have to be aware of all the attacks. I'm a watchman on the wall. I got to watch for the attacks that's coming across our community. So I have to be abreast and aware of these things. This is very deep because we have, matter of fact, I'm going to show you one of my favorite scriptures. One of my favorite scriptures. This is crazy because this is one of my favorite scriptures in Christianity, but then it became mine also when I became an Israelite. It's Isaiah chapter 50, verse 4. It says, Yah Elohim has given me the tongue of the learned, or the tongue of the well-instructed, to know the word that sustains the weary. He wakens me by morning, making me morning by noon, awakens my ear to listen like one being instructed. I told y'all, can you give me this gift so I can serve you and I can be an even greater servant to your community? Bosses tell you what to do. Leaders show you by example. I never want to be a boss over anybody. I just want to be a leader. And as a leader, I have to take the brunt force of everything for the sake of the community. I'm okay with them being behind me, being on Front Street and taking the blows for them. I'm okay because it's not about me. We need more servants like that. I'm not here to get wrestling belt titles, and I don't care about that, family. I love you guys. My people. I love you guys. I'm here to do this for you. So anyway, with that being said, y'all have Isaiah 15 for my scripture. I gave you the link so you'll know all these theological terms. This stuff is not deep, family. They make it seem deep. That website breaks everything down in layman's terms so you can understand all of these deep theological terms. I want to see how many of them he's going to throw my way to probably try to trip me and trap me up like I don't know what this stuff is. Trust me, family. If I'm going to engage anybody, my associates in the Kemetic community, my associates in the Christian community, my associates in the Muslim community, I know terms and I know concepts and I know steps and I study all of this stuff. And y'all see it. Y'all see when I go. I mean, even when I had my discussion with the brother Ali Muhammad, and I came there unprepared, family. I did it off the dome because I know the information. I know the worldview. I study his information before I sat there and discourse with him. I study all of Vocab's information. He says, oh, I wrote all these blogs. Bro, I know that. I read it. I watch your videos. I see your commentary. I understand your worldview. So you're not talking to somebody who's just going to throw ad hominems at you. Not going to so somebody that's going to use hasty generalization when it comes to identifying what your worldview is. You're dealing with somebody that surgically is precise with cutting and opening and rearranging and repairing, refixing and sewing back up. This is a science. This is an art. I treat it as such. Do you understand what this is, family? Why? Because as a teacher, James 3 says, we have a greater punishment if we don't do what is righteous on behalf of the people. So we have to be extra diligent in our specialty. And this is what I'm doing. So again, I don't hate all Christians and say all Christians, most are going to destroy them. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is leave my community alone. Leave us alone. If you don't agree with it, go that way. For you to call us a cult, I can also call you a cult. You call me pagan, I can call you pagan. You call me heretic, I can call you heretic. Because who's given the authority to make these claims? The church fathers? Really? I've read a good amount. I want to go into the church father with this brother. I want to show him that in 2,000 years of Christianity, this progressive covenantalism is a novelty. There's no root or foundation in this. What is this going? It's borrowing from the worldview of a dispensationalist in a covenant theology and new covenant theology. It's just borrowing from everything and it's reforming, restructuring this worldview. That's not my worldview. I look at the data and I inductively analyze it and work my way to a hypothesis, which is an algorithm that I feed in constant information to. And when I see that the algorithm can sustain itself, I work my way up to the thesis. I present my thesis for peer review. And from there, I work my way to my premise. And from my premise, I give my dissertation. That is how I function, family. I'm not a deductive analyst. It's a whole nother ball game when it comes to information. So in restructuring and reformulating things, when he asked me about the text, I said, Joe, this is a reconstructive process. Because the work that I'm doing, people have touched on it, but nobody has dug deep into it. And this is what I'm doing. It's uncharted territory. It's taboo. Nobody wants to deal with it, but I want to deal with it because I want to see if there's truth in it and if it's something worth salvaging for the liberation of our people and our community, family. And I'm okay. You know, sometimes I'm willing to jump out there because other people be inboxing me, messaging me saying, bro, can you talk on this? You know, I'm afraid to talk on this. And then I'll speak on a subject matter that's taboo. And it gives them more confidence to have discussions now, right? I'm willing to do that for y'all. I have no problem with that. Vocab calling me a pagan, calling me a polytheist, calling me an evolution. Like he's throwing terms on me to make me look bad even before we had the discussion. But I ate it like a champ. But I said to him, Vocab, if you're going to keep going out there and slandering me like that, then there's no need for a discussion because I'm not slandering you. I didn't slander him not one time. And I chose not to slander him. I don't have to troll anywhere and make a whole bunch of posts on him. Now, I'll tell you about the information I'm going to talk about because that's all I'm concerned with. What information do you have, Vocab? You personally, I don't hate you as an individual, right? I don't agree with your worldview, and I don't like how you're calling my cult, you're attacking us. So I'm going to push back. But this is something that years running. I've been itching to have a conversation with Vocab. Itching. And tonight, I didn't even scratch it. I just blew on it. I didn't even scratch it. I'm ready for a debate. If that's what the brother wants, let's do a debate. We're going to have it. We can have it on a neutral platform with a neutral moderator. Let's do it. We can pick a subject matter and we can go in. And trust me, for the debate, I will. This one, family, this questions, you know, I drafted these up. What's today? Thursday. I drafted these up on Tuesday, family. Tuesday. I brought these questions up. Tuesday. I put them down. And some of them I just went off the top of the dome. I wasn't studying for months and for weeks. For what? My schedule's too busy to do that. I'm just familiar with the information that I can rock with you in the ring. It's light. But like I said, and y'all didn't hear it before I ended off. When they asked me my final words, I said, all glory and praise goes to the Most High Yah for waking up the elect so we could be beacons of light unto the nations. He gets all honor, glory, and praise, whether I win or lose. The objective is I'm giving what I can give so that I can serve him in completeness and in wholeness. And I gave credit to Yahushua, who is the initiator of the renewed covenant of the order of Melchizedek, where he has initiated a remnant to regather them back unto Torah, so that way they can be in preparation for the kingdom to come. And I I gave honor and credit where credit is due first and foremost. I gave it to Sal. I even gave it to Vocab. I gave it to all the audience and the people that called in. I didn't give myself no credit. Who am I? I'm dust. I'm nothing. I'm nobody. My life is not my own, family. I don't live for myself. All those times you may see me come on a live stream, I'm tired. It's because I'm working for y'all. You understand? And Vocab's gonna be, oh, the black church is doing all these great things in the community. Who's arguing that? The issue is when he says, but I don't see that with the Hebrew Israelites. Are you really trying to look? You're not looking for the good in our community. You're not. So of course you're not going to see that. I acknowledge that the black church is doing a lot of stuff, right? I believe that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? But I acknowledge that they're doing a lot of work for the community. I wouldn't deny that. But what I'm saying is, don't belittle my community and not identify the works and the stuff that we're doing. I'm striving to do a lot more for our community. But like I said, I have a huge mountain to climb, and that's Christianity. I get a lot of pushback from that community, which is the dominant force in the black community and in America as a whole. So I'm fighting an uphill battle, as opposed to Christians. It's not an uphill battle because they live in a realm or society that condones their worldview. But let the odds be even. Let me have the same resources, the same audience, the same platforms that they have, and I guarantee you for Yah that I'll exceed anything that they do. By Yah's power, by his grace, I will exceed it. You know why? Because it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about him, his kingdom, his people. And for the black community, I don't hate all other communities, but I see my community being the most oppressed. So I got to speak to them and give them that word that they need. I got to be able to give them the resources on top of that word that they have. I got to be able to formulate their worldview so that things can give them immediate and yield results that is applicable and practical, that they can get something out of it. I'm not here to preach you hope. I'm here to give you a plan. I'm here to give you culture. I'm here to tell you how to form a community, how to be autonomous, family. I'm telling you, nobody should own your autonomy, your community, or your culture. You own it. It's yours. Take it back, family. That's what I'm here to do. Don't get me confused with everybody else's agenda. That's not me. That's not what I'm about. That's not what my organization's about. We're here to serve God, keep these mitzvot, and also work with other black organizations to uplift the community. I'm not going to sit here and deny you resources simply because you have an opposing worldview. It's through my works that I win others. Not by my profession, not by my deep knowledge, but what I do. Family, I go to protests all the time and put my life on the line, family. Family, I'm out here challenging academia, putting my career on the line, family. I'm doing this for the sake of the community. What are you doing this for? You doing this for a false sense of entitlement? Is that what y'all doing this for? Are y'all doing this because y'all want to be seen? Y'all want the fame and the fortune? Is that what y'all doing this for? Or are you doing it because you are self-delusional and you think that you have some great knowledge in regards to redemption and salvation and you want to go just convert and proselytize it? Why are you doing this, family? What is your motive, not your intent? What is your motive? My law students know the difference between motive and intent. You can prosecute somebody on intent. You can't prosecute them on motive. But motive, understanding motive helps to drive what the intent was. We got to check ourselves, family. Check ourselves. So with that, family, I love you guys. I thank y'all for your support. You know, I know a lot of y'all was going a little hard on Vocab, and I felt kind of bad for Vocab. Now here's the thing. Vocab doesn't realize that when Israel sees a common enemy, we will band together. When I say enemy, Vocab, I'm not talking about we want to kill you, hurt you, destroy you. I'm talking about the people that I rock with. When they see that Divine is going against somebody who is a threat to their community, they're going to rock with Divine Prospect. They may not agree with everything that I teach, but they know that if anybody's going to be a diplomat for our community, it will be me. I'm not the only one, but I'm one of many. So of course they're going to get behind me and they're going to support me and they're going to push me. Of course they're going to challenge you. You've had all this time saying all of this stuff about our community. You went against a couple of brothers from One West. You ain't never dealt with somebody that was academic, astute, and somebody that knows your worldview inside out and can teach it objectively. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a session simply off of progressive covenantalism. So you can see that I know the worldview. This is not somebody that's just taking shots at Christianity in general. I study this astutely. Like Zion Lex says, meticulously. Everybody that called in asked an excellent question. And all of Israel so galvanized and say, hey, Vocab, you've been saying all of this about us. You wrote a book, which Divine read. Remember, family, I don't come unprepared, Joe. I don't come unprepared. And if y'all see that I'm not 1,000% turned up, it's a strategic reason for that. I scale back purposely. This is chess. You can't just jump like checkers. You gotta watch your opponent. Not on your move, your opponent's move. Force your opponent to anticipate what your moves are and then do something different. So Vocab, much love to you, Vocab. I don't hate you. I'm not going to make no memes about you. I'm not going to make no posts denigrating you and belittling you and condescending you. I'm not doing that. This is my debriefing. And after this, Vocab, I'm moving on. I got a million other projects to do. But Vocab, if you want to debate, let me know and we'll set it up. But I would love to have further phone conversations with you and other discourses with you so we can build. I have no problem with that. But what I will tell you, Vocab, is please be aware that I'm not the only one like me in my community. And because you're chasing who you deem to be extremists who have a function, you're not dealing with the more astute part of our community who are actually doing nation building. You talking about you don't see what Israelites are doing. Do you not know who Kingdom of Yah is? Shout out to KOY. And we may not agree with their doctrine 100%, but shout out to KOY because guess what? KOY is putting in that work for our community, domestically and abroad. And they're not the only one. We have Israelite communities all over the world doing works for the indigenous peoples in those areas. You're just not looking at the right groups. So that's what I'm saying. My objective is to show you a different view. So that way you can respect the integrity of our community and you could be able to say, you know what, all of them is not bad. And I don't think he thinks all of us is bad, but he needs to respect us like he would respect another Christian group. Or even more so. And I say that from my own personal position, and that's fine. So with that being said, family, I love you guys. Thank y'all for watching. Like I said, I'm not going to bang on Vocab and talk dirty about him. It's not that serious. I know Vocab is probably going to troll this video. I know he's probably going to troll my comments, but it's okay. He's allowed to have his free speech and say whatever he wants, but he just has to be prepared about the people who's on it may not be as tactful or diplomatic as I am. So with that being said, family, I love you guys. Y'all stay tuned. I'm going to probably try to do a Friday night live session tomorrow so I can go more in depth and maybe touch up on a little bit more on this once I re-examine what we discussed and be able to gauge the people and the questions and inquiries that they had because I wasn't able to ask all their questions or use all of their worldview points that they wanted to make. But I hope I represented Israel well. I did my best because I wanted Yah to be proud of what the work that I performed on tonight with answering diligently the questions that he was asking. I wanted to put Israel on my back and say, I got you, family, that anytime an apologist from any other worldview comes against us, I will be on the front line. I will defend y'all tooth and nail. That's what I'm here for, family. I got to protect our community. I'm a watchman on the wall. This is what I do. And I do it because I have to serve and lead by example. And I encourage you all to do the same. So with that, family, I said, Baruch Hashem Yahuwah, Baruch Haba to all the family out there. I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for future videos. Subscribe to Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. Like me on Instagram at Kingdom Moments. And hey, family, I got 1,050 friend requests. And Facebook will not expand my 5,000 friend requests. Facebook will not allow me to accept all these friend requests. So I have to go through and see who to accept and who not to accept. And I get hundreds of messages. So I apologize to people that say, Divine, I sent you a message ages ago and I'm getting back to you. And now I'm opening up more to my staff to assist me because, you know, I'm very careful with what I do. I'm very particular with what I do. So I'm opening up more to allow my staff to help me with more of these matters so that I can get to the people more efficiently, quickly, more effectively. I thank you guys for being with me. I thank you for watching this at 12:30 a.m. Some of y'all got to go to work tomorrow, and I think it's Veterans Day for some people. But I love your family. I do this for y'all. You know, I see people that are sending messages saying, how can they donate? I think Esther is in the chat, or talk to Prashoni on YouTube, and she'll post the links on how you guys can donate. You can either send a donation to my PayPal, which is kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. You guys can also go to Patreon, look up Divine Prospect if you want to be a monthly commitment donation. Those of you can also go to GoFundMe, go to Kingdom Harbinger Ministries on GoFundMe, and you can send a donation. Whatever you guys want to give, I appreciate it. Like I said, whatever is given is used to further this research, going towards R&D, as well as going towards people with needs. I tell people if they need anything and I can help, inbox me, email me, and with the resource and support that I can get from the community, I have it available and accessible to you guys, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to serve. And all of you should be the same. And how great Israel would be if we would just take the time to objectively serve one another despite our disagreements. How great we would be, family. But I believe that one day that's going to happen when Yah intervenes, and that's going to be a great and glorious sight. So I love you, family. Thank you for watching. Peace, shalom. And you know what it is, family. Real black power, right, family? Love you guys. Peace.